It was my wedding day. We were getting married in Cape D'Or in Nova Scotia. I couldn't sleep, and I was up early around 6 a.m., and decided to walk the grounds at the B&B, which also served as a lighthouse, to determine the best place to exchange vows. I was all alone as my husband was sleeping soundly. The tide was coming in. The sun was rising. It was beautiful. Keep in mind, this is backwoods Nova Scotia. There's no guardrails between the nice grassy bluffs and sheer cliffs that plummet hundreds of feet into the ocean with jagged rocks. The grass was covered in the morning dew, and as I walked towards the main point of the land, I slipped. I landed on my back and started slipping. I did what I thought was reasonable and flipped onto my stomach, and tried to get as much surface area with the grass as I could. Down and down I slipped, and finally, after what felt like ages, I came to a stop. I looked up, and very carefully crawled up the hill. I was literal inches from going over the cliffs. Any more speed and I would have been toast. And no one would have known for a while until they found my body. I didn't tell my now spouse until we were safely back at home.
I grew up in an area with a lot of cliffs and a lot of hiking, and especially if I'm having a bad day, going and hiking to the top of the tallest thing available, up where you can see for miles and the air is clear, helps me clear my head and calm down. I'm always afraid that I'm going to trip and die, and, since odds are I was up there in response to some kind of rough patch, it'll loom like a suicide. To help combat this, there's a letter in my safe that I call my anti-suicide note. The envelope is labeled "Do not open until I'm dead," and the letter itself says something along the lines of, "I've never been suicidal." If it looks like a suicide and there isn't a note containing the word X, I genuinely can't remember what I picked. It wasn't suicide, I just lost my balance or whatever. I figure if I include a passphrase, there won't be a lingering "he wrote this in 2024 and it's 2047, what if he became suicidal but forgot to get rid of this letter?" I'll still be dead, but at least my family won't also have to feel bad about not catching warning signs that weren't there.
A number of decades ago, I met a lady online in local area AOL chat room. Hit it off, decided to take the bus up to meet her. Had a great weekend and she drove me back home. On the way back it was middle of the night on a highway with bad lighting and foggy. Could barely see 5 feet in front of the car. Did not see some torn up tire in the middle of the road and hit it and started to spin out of control, doing several 360s barreling down the highway. Brakes slammed. Finally stopped. Already foggy AF, but dust also everywhere now. No clue if we were still on the road or what. Suddenly a semi-truck flew by what felt like inches from us. Car shook and everything from the backdraft winds or whatever. Took a lot of the dust with it. Was able to see that we had ended up in the median just barely off the road. Nobody hurt except a few bruises from all the 360s and stuff. Barely knew each other at all. Like 3 days since initial online talks. We decided it was fate that we survived and got married about a week later. Almost 30 years now married. Also, I've had a gun pressed up against my head a few times by angry tweaking drug dealer knocking on the wrong door, if that counts.
I jumped into the river rapids of the Provo River. They swept me under and kept pushing underwater. I didn't know how long I could hold my breath because half of it was blown out when I hit the cold water. As I tossed and turned by the current, severe panic sent in as my lungs were on fire for a breath of oxygen. I fought the urge to inhale the water. My lungs were screaming. Then everything went peaceful. So peaceful that moment in life is what defines peaceful. I was surrendering to the peace when my head shot out of the water. My lungs filled themselves with oxygen.
When I was 3 years old, the space heater in my room overheated and the cord melted. It lit the carpet on fire, then the drapes, then everything else. It was late at night, and as a terrified 3-year-old, all I did was stand paralyzed in the middle of my room. My mom and baby brother at the time were downstairs, so they got out immediately. My dad came out after, and upon seeing I wasn't with them, ran back into the burning house. He ran up to my second-story bedroom and snatched me out of my room, carrying me out. We both escaped with some minor singing and smoke inhalation. Were the timing any different, or any of my family in different areas of the house, one or many or all of us would have died in that fire.